Hello friends, today I'm sharing my COVID-19 journey with you. I got infected around 13th April and today it's around 17th May, so it's been a while and I'm trying to cover the whole journey. There are various stages like the probability of getting infected, like from where I might got infection. Then I talk about what happened during the week 1, what happened during week 2 and then 3 and then later on. So hopefully this video will help you to understand how to deal with COVID-19. I do understand each individual may react differently and may have a different kind of a symptom and may have a different strain of virus. So it's always good to take an advice from the doctor, even if you have seen a one case with your eyes, still your case might be very different from that case you have seen. But having said that, somebody's case can help us in understanding the criticality as well as learn something which might be useful. So here I start. So I got vaccinated. Yeah, I got Covaxin early April, and after that I was living normal life. I used to visit coffee shops, yeah, which were air conditioned. I was also going for a little bit of grocery shoppings, and I was also hanging around in the nearby areas, always mask on, always maintaining sufficient distance. Looks like I'm not sure from where I got the virus. I don't have anyone known who got infected and I can relate to. Maybe it could be from the air, and since I was only using single mask because of the new strain has a more virality or infectious capability, so somewhere I picked up. There is also a probability that my immunity was weak because I went through a vaccination but I was not taking rest. So in the weak immunity space, somehow I got infected. Yeah. So yeah, so learning for me is that don't put your guards off. Yeah, even if the world is looking normal, when the new strains are coming, when the virus is spreading, we need to go back to the previous kind of production space. And if you have some compromised immunity because of whatever, maybe a little bit of tiredness or a little bit of something, better do an extra protection. Yeah, so stay more and more in a safer place. But whatever it is, it happened. So I started getting mild fever on around 30th April, and it was little news. I was hoping it is not COVID or not COVID, not clear. And then I called the people for a testing and realized that the situation is very worse in my area, and people were taking 3 to 4 days to give me a report. So I waited for one day to find a good provider, but still on 14th I got tested and I waited for 4 days to get the report. But on 13th, after getting these symptoms, I realized that I should treat this case as a COVID case only. So if you are getting a symptom, my recommendation is take it as if it is COVID and do your all possible precautions. So as you know, the COVID-19 is not an individual issue, it's a family issue. Yeah. So once you get infected, the people who stay with you has a high probability of getting infected. So as a first thing we can do is try to find a way how can we protect our family members. Now, so what we did our best. So out of 4, we only got 2 of us got infected. We could save 2, but yes, 2 of us got infected. So there was a failure, there was a success, but this is how it went. So started with the symptoms. I had mild symptoms. There was a fever. I think nothing other than fever. So it's around 101, 102. The initial few days, I started taking online consultation. And online consultation was helping. We were getting medicines delivered at home, and it started improving. And parallelly I started planning my work, like just after 5 days I will start doing work and all. And after 6 days I kind of started working as well, partly. And I think that was a mistake because the rest seems to be the best medicine which works for COVID-19. Now later on, what happened? I was done with the medicines and I was not taking them. But around 10 and the 11th day, I got my CT scan done, and I realized that I have infection in lungs. Not major one, but there was a mild to moderate infection. So I decided no work, no planning. Let's stay for take a full rest. Fortunately, the infection was not that big, so I could live without steroids. So you might be hearing that in the week 2 people end up doing and taking the steroid. And later on we did some research and realized this whole 1 week and 2 week phase, and also understood how this COVID report comes out. So some ideas. So when you do your RT-PCR test, in our case the report was very much delayed, but now it started coming fast. So they give something called CT value, and many times when we discuss with others, this get confused with the CT scan CT value. But these two things are very different. When you get a high value in RT-PCR CT value, it means your infectious nature is less rather than more. So it means the test conducted multiple, like they repeated multiple cycle before they detect the virus. But this thing is only limited to your throat and nose. So if they found difficulty in detecting it, it means they found difficulty in this area detecting it. The virus could be inside. So we should not be caring much about that CT value. Yes, if you have a low CT value in RT-PCR test, it means that you are more infectious. So through your nose and the coughs and other stuff. I had 16. I was not clear what this means till the time I studied about it just 1 week ago. So that's the thing, and I think because of that, that might be the reason we could save 2 members, because my infectious nature was relatively less there. That's the one thing which I have learned. The another thing later on we learned is that this COVID virus survives on glucose. So if one can reduce intake of glucose, if it can bring it to near zero initial 3-4 days, then it could reduce the probability of further multiplication of the virus. So this is also we learned later, but yeah, my case was done till that time. So these are the 2 things. Another thing is you might get various prescription from people, this works, that works. What I have realized in the case of COVID, it all depends at what time you are applying which treatment. So it's like initial time, it is more like virus is multiplying. So some set of treatment works in that case. Further initial stage, initial 1 or 2 days, virus might be in the upper part of your body, throats and nose. The steams and other things works in those areas. But later on when it goes inside the body, these things may not put that much impact. So it's not like somebody says take steam. Yeah, it may be good for initial 2-3 days. Later on it may put more pressure on your lungs. It's not a good idea. So we need to see at what point in time which particular advice we are taking. Yeah, so that's something I learned later on, but you may want to try out. Somebody will say take steroid. Yeah, so steroids are good, or I think needed rather than good. Doctor will prescribe you when you have high inflation in your lungs, and that usually comes after 7 days. So after 7 days you get you need to check your symptoms, and if there is a case, once the multiplication of virus is over, then only they will prescribe the steroid. But in before they prescribe the steroid, the way they give you, it all depends upon your other health conditions. So please follow the doctor's advice, like what is your other body ratios, your health histories, and all the things. Many of the cases which are going wrong in the COVID space are the one where people just took pills and things based on what they heard, they saw others doing. So please don't do that. It's a very unpredictable virus. Doctor end up seeing 50 to 100 patients per day. They know what kind of flavors are coming. So they let them decide at that moment. Even if someone has been through it last month, if he goes through it again, please again take the doctor advice. Don't apply your previous month's prescription. So that's something I could relate to. In my case, the second cycle was relatively calm. I was tired, but there was no further complication. There was no drop in oxygen. I was not on pills after day 15. Yeah, so I was taking pills initial 6-7 days. Then I was not taking pill for 5 days, and then some little bit of lung infection came in. Then again I was taking pills for 5 days. Yeah, so this is how my thing worked. I could avoid the steroid as well. So it's like things went off. Now there was a question, are we infectious? Like, are we still carrying the infectious? Can we go without the cars? Can I interact with my son without wearing the mask? Now, how do I know that? So RT-PCR was one of the option, but in our area, at that point in time, it was a kind of a crisis situation. Even government was telling, don't go for RT-PCR because we already have a queue. And so we did some studies and realized that after 14 days or 3-4 days, if you are not getting infection, after say 14 days of infection, and from last 3 days, if you are not getting temperature or any other symptom, you can fairly assume that you can come out of home isolation. So I took my judgment, and it was a big judgment because it was impacting the health of other two fit people. But yes, I decided to come out of it around 17th day, and it was the right decision. So I had, but I was not having any energy to follow with the RT-PCR guys and do a negative test. So it's okay to go without test too, provided you are without infection, you are not taking any pills for a while, and you are not exhibiting any symptoms. I was taking advice over the phone from the doctor. I was sharing that this is what happened. Since this much time I'm not having infection, can we go ahead? That point in time, because of this crisis of the test, doctors were also relying mainly on the symptoms. So this is something which worked for us, yeah, for the testing part. Now there is a push for CT scan again. It is only in my understanding only after a week it made sense, and it depends. If you have some symptoms, you may go for it. If you don't have any symptoms, you may not go for it. That's the another thing you can rely on. So yeah, so this is how kind of recovery started. The rest is happening, and in between I started working. Then the final story, or a final stage of the conversation. So I spoke about the symptom part, the first week, second week, and then the recovery started. I also end up giving a plasma donation. So I also wanted to share a story related to plasma, how it works, and all those things. Sometime if you are infected or you need plasma, you need to know these things, especially if you are living in the Delhi and nearby area. So we had a situation where plasma was needed, and I was feeling that I am out of it. So it was around 28 days since I got the first infection, and I thought, yeah, let me try. So when the patient is at a critical stage, the hospital will ask for plasma, and they will tell you that we need this blood group plasma, and that becomes a tricky case. If you don't have that blood group available, then it goes into a loop. Now, few things need to be kept in mind. Not everyone who went through COVID-19 end up having sufficient antibodies to donate plasma. So what these people will do, the people who are taking plasma, they run a test for you, and if they find sufficient antibodies, then only they put you through a plasma process. So now, so if you want to get it, they like the case we were trying, we went to multiple people, and we were not getting sufficient antibodies for the same blood group. So then I had a different blood group. So we need to find a way so that different blood group can be replaced. You know, we can have some exchange. I can give A blood group and I can get a B group. I was having A positive and we were looking for B positive. So that's something the case. So we discovered there is a plasma bank of Delhi, which is called, I think, ILBS. There's a liver and blood or something. It's in the Mehroli kind of area, ILBS. So it's a Delhi government plasma bank where one can go, they can get tested that do I have a sufficient plasma. It takes some time. The testing itself takes around 2 hours. And once the testing is good enough, you feel that you have a plasma, you can donate your plasma. And while donating your plasma, you can mention for whom you are donating. So you can mention the patient name. Now, once you mention the patient name, it will be only reserved for that patient for next 1 week time. So that's what you do. And fortunately, I had sufficient plasma antibodies, and I end up donating. So they take 2 units of plasma, and that's we thought that we will get 2 units in return. But that was another surprise. So when you go for taking the plasma against the patient behalf, they issue 1 unit only in a 1 day. Then we went through the website and studies what is happening here. We realized, okay, in a 1 day we can get 1 unit, next day we can get another. That's what it is written, and maximum 2 units can be availed. Then we went to the next day, and still they said, yes, you can take the second unit, yeah, because 1 patient can take 2 units, but you need to bring another donor. So for a 1 donor, they only give 1 unit. So here the experience sharing is, so ILBS facilities are very good. It's easy. It's very clean cut process. The only thing is that you need to plan multiple donors, because in general, the hospitals are asking for 2 units for a 1 patient. So the good case is if you get the quick match of the same blood group and the person has the desired antibodies, maybe directly to hospital plasma donation only. But if that whole process is taking time, ILBS is a good alternative, provided you plan sufficient donors. The process of plasma donation at ILBS takes around 4 hours. 2.5 hours for the screening. After that you get the result, can you donate or not, and then the donation process may take around 40 to 45 minutes itself. And the issuance, like when you want to take a unit of plasma, it also has a process which takes around 2 hours. So this is something you can keep in mind. Yeah, another thing about plasma, yeah, it is not as easy as a blood donation. It takes time, but I believe it does not produce that much weakness, because what they do, they take the blood, they extract the plasma, and then put the blood back. So blood is getting re-entered in your body. So that much is something is there. Yeah, I think this is what we have been like I have learned in the whole journey. And fortunately I could recover without medical help, because during that time we were not having any beds or anything available in our area where I live in the Gurgaon. So hospitals were overcrowded, and I went to one hospital for getting a CT scan, and I saw the situation, and I again came back without CT scan. At that point in time I said they are too busy to handle the very critical cases. My case is very small, so better I don't do it. So study about all these things in advance. Find your strategy, that if someone get infected, how do you protect the rest of the family members, and do find some online consultation help as and when it is needed. Do listen to others' advice, but don't follow them as it is. Listen to your doctor more, because this virus, this situation is emerging and changing every day. Some pill might be working 1 week before or 1 month before, but we might have a better pill now, and doctor may know those things far better than someone else. Stay safe and stay healthy. Yeah, thank you.